Hey, hello everyone. Hey, so does this pollen or whatever's going on have you like it have me? My name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the business plug. And so I am here today to talk to you about funding. Like, how do you fund your business? One of the five things that I heard you say when I surveyed the 700 plus businesses is that they have a lack of funds, a lack of funding, a lack of funds. And so this tonight's session on the Business Plus Mixer is all about trying to help you get funding. Now, is that one of the problems you have? Come on in, come on in. Thank you for joining me. I am trying to get everybody in. It's 7:01, 7:02 now, but I'm here. I'm here. I know I rarely get to come on, so I'm doing this directly into Facebook. So I don't have the Zoom because I don't have I'm not interviewing anybody. This is all about me telling you what I know about getting funded. I've had over 30 years experience in corporate America. And then in addition to that, I am the downtown facilitator for Launch Chattanooga. I also operate since 2013 a business consulting firm. So I've been around a while. I've been around a while and I've been doing things a while. So this is about me helping you find funding. My passion is small businesses. My passion is helping small businesses. I enjoy seeing people live out their dreams. I get a rush just watching people identify with their uncultivated potential. So for that reason, I created LSMB Business Solutions, which is my brand. And behind me, you'll see that people call me the business plug. A student actually named me that, and shout out to Lovely Rose who gave me the plug part, and then to Paul C. Bronson who said, yeah, you're a plug. You're the business plug. So that's how that name came to be, is a student named me, and then Paul C. Bronson said, that's what you should be known as, the plug, because I plug people in. That's what I do. I have a talent, a gift for that. And so that's what I do. So with that being said, tonight, again, if you're just coming in, hello. If you're just coming in, this is about how can you get funding for your business. Like, you have the business idea and you're thinking, okay, I have the idea, but I have little to no money. And that's not abnormal. Hey, gorgeous. Hey, Chisa. How are you, dog? That's not that doesn't make you abnormal. In fact, that makes you quite normal. Startups rarely have a lot of money when they first start off. So it's important for you to try to find ways to reasonably begin. Hey there, Barbara, how are you? So in doing so, we're going to talk about 9 reasonable ways of funding your business ideas, okay? And these are ways that have been proven to be successful for a lot of startups. So that's what we're talking about. How can you become successful as a startup? That's what I'm here for tonight. So let's talk about it. So the number one way of becoming successful is asking your friends and family. Like, who do you know in your family? And we look at that, we're like, oh boy, but who do you, I already hear it from over here. And if you're watching this in the replay, please put hashtag replay. And I invite you to join my Facebook page. I also invite you to go to my website, getthebusiness.org, where you can contact me and talk to me directly through my website. So with that being said, I've done the ask. I'm supposed to do a call to action every time I do one of these. And so I'm getting better at it. I have coaches. Isn't it funny? I'm a coach and I have coaches, but that's what you need. You need to find somebody who's a coach that is coachable. So anyway, getting back to the subject tonight, the first of 9 ways of funding your business is through family and friends. A lot of times, I don't know if we're embarrassed or if we feel like they may not support us, or we just get scared in the ask. But the best way, actually, to get funding is through your friends and family, people in your network that you have not tapped into. So consider that. Consider doing that. Talking to your parents, talking to your grandparents, talking to your friends you hang out with, right? Because when you find out that you're a business owner, a lot of people want to be in your videos and in your photos. But if those people that show up in your photos like that when you're doing your business thing, ask them to be contributors monetarily. A lot of times it's under $5,000 that you need, right? And so if it's under $5,000 that you need, for the most part, now there are some business ideas that are several hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we'll talk about them too. But for most people, $5,000 could probably get their businesses started at a low level, okay? And always teach, you start out small and then you grow, because as your customers train you and teach you what they want, then your business model may change to something else. And for that reason, you don't spend a lot of money in the front getting in. I cannot tell you how many people want a big building. They want a big building and they want to have all the bells and whistles in that building. Well, guess what? That costs money. And so if you ever do think of going and getting a brick and mortar, a building, then go as small as you can. That's reasonable for you, because people who overstretch and get the biggest building they can find with all the bells and whistles, after a while, they find that they're basically working to pay the rent, right? If they don't own the building, they're working to pay the rent. So I don't want you to be like that. I want you to start out smart. And starting out smart is starting out small. And just understand that small is just temporary. That's just a start. That's going from zero to something. And so start out very small until you build up your customer base. And as you grow, that's when you start getting to larger spaces. Outgrow your small space first. And in some cases, you don't really need a brick and mortar. You can do what you do virtually. You know, I've been in business 6 years. I still do my business out of my home. I don't have a brick and mortar because I don't need that overhead. All of that is more money. And like I said, when you're a startup, when you're a startup, then, you know, you have to start as small as you can. And I get it, Chisa, when you say it's not an option, families and friends. So hopefully some of the things I talk about are going to be options for you. And I get it. It's not an option for all of us, but most of us have that resource and we never tap into it. We never say, oh yeah, I could ask my friends or my family. And you know what? Putting it out there anyway and saying, I just wonder if you support me. I just wonder, would you support me and invest in my business? And just like people on TV, if you watch Shark Tank, they get a percentage of the business. It may be even worth you giving a percentage of the business if the money is big enough to help you get to your first sale, right? So for those that's an option, then try that. The other thing is small business loans. Now, let me talk about that. So anytime you're doing a loan, please, 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 think about it before you use your home as your collateral, okay? Because if your business fails, and none of these businesses are guaranteed to succeed, but if your business failed, then not only does your business fail, you lose your home. So think about that very wisely. I don't recommend using your home as collateral for any type of loan for a business. I just don't. It's a high risk, and if it works out, then fine. But if it doesn't work out, then you could be homeless. And I don't want that for you. So think about that wisely. So business loans. So how many of you have heard of Kiva? If you've heard of Kiva, type yes in your column. Let's talk about Kiva for a minute. Kiva has been world known. Several people here in Chattanooga I have contributed to. And I think they said I've contributed to about 17 businesses since I started actually contributing to Kiva. And I like Kiva because Kiva is a no interest loan. You can get there by kiva.com, KIVA.com. Go look at it. It's worth the look. But write that down and make a note to go look at that later. It's a no interest loan, and it requires that you have friends and family who support you, right? So the way Kiva works is you have to have 25 friends to give you $25 up front, right? And once they help you get the $25 per friend, the 25 people give you $25, then they open you up to a larger network where there are investors and philanthropists and all kind of people that can help give you money. Now, again, this is a loan and not a grant. So this you do have to pay back. So you don't get no more than what you can pay back, right? Because the thing about Kiva, like I've been able to donate toward so many businesses simply because I invest in people and they pay me back. The $25 that your friends give, you get to pay that back. That's why you pay back the loan, but it's zero interest. So it's a good option for those who need an alternative or something to look at for a short period of time. Also, while I was researching this, I learned about some other things. So I'm looking at my paper while I'm talking to you. But I learned that there's a place called MILAAP. And what it does is it helps with basic needs in education. So if your business is providing basic needs in education, there may be opportunities there for you to get a business loan. There's another place called WATSI, it's WATSI.com. And what they do is they help with medical loans. So if anyone needs, if you have a lot of medical bills and you need to kind of bundle them to make them more reasonable for you, then that's an option for you. And then Care International UK is one. And then Baby Loan, that is another one. These are places that I hadn't heard of until I was doing this research for this broadcast. So those are small business loans that you may qualify for. It's worth the look if you're needing funding for your business, right? So did any of you any of you all heard about Kiva? Are you familiar with Kiva at all? That has been a godsend for so many of the launch graduates who used it. It got them off the ground. They start with like $8,000, I think, your first time. But as you pay them back, then you elevate to a different level, like up to several hundred thousand. But first you have to show your credit worthiness that you'll pay your bills. And that's what I want you to do. If you're a business, you need to pay your bills at all costs. You need to do that because you don't want to have a bad reputation. You have a credit score with your business, just like you have a credit score with yourself, a personal credit score. So you want to make sure that your business's credit score is always, always, always on point as you try to rebuild yours. Because in some cases, I understand, I get a lot of small businesses who say, well, Miss Linda, my credit is not that good. And it takes time. I do recommend Dreamcatcher. So there's a Facebook group by my girl Tiffany that's called Dreamcatcher. Go to Dreamcatcher and get in that Facebook group. People in that group are buying houses, getting their credit scores up to 800, and it's doing practical steps, right? Reasonable practical steps to help you get your credit score where it needs to be. It's strategically teaching you how to pay off debt and how to get your credit score. And it's an honest way of getting your credit score there. So of course, I recommend her. So for those of you who have undesirable credit, like you want your credit score to be higher for whatever reason, then consider joining the group Dreamcatcher with Tiffany, because it's a wonderful thing. Like I said, I watch people buy houses. I watch them get their first cars. They're paying off debt. They're paying off student loans. They're paying off everything. So Dreamcatcher, I recommend you go there. Another thing. So in talking about how ways to fund your business, what marketable skills do you have? Have you ever considered trade in equity or services like bartering? A few weeks ago, I talked about bartering, and bartering works for small businesses because you have an asset, a trade, a service that you could lend someone to help them. And so think about those. One guy, and I talk about him all the time because he needed a presentation and he didn't have money, but he needed a presentation. And it was very important because it was going before some people who were going to invest in his business. And I needed my yard done. So instead of charging him money to do his presentation for him, I allowed him to do my yard. He did my yard one time. We're even because at the time my yard looked like a wow. And he came in and did my grass, did my hedges and everything. I mean, he trimmed it up. It looked very nice. And that's what we bartered. We bartered my services for him doing my lawn care, my yard work. And so trade in equity or services, consider that, because we think about money every time we start business. We think, I got to get money. I got to have money. And it's not money. Money is not the new currency. The new currency is networks. So how can you utilize and build your networks? You have a lot of followers. So people try to get to 5,000 followers because that's the max that Facebook allows you. but you don't need followers if they're not contributors, right? And so thinking about things you can do in your business to activate your followers, to activate the people who support you online, activate you to get them to activate and contribute towards your business, doing challenges and different things to kind of help them to help you. Okay. So think about that. And bootstrapping. So bootstrapping is when you put back money, you know, out of your own pocket. You pay 100% of your way. And that may be tapping into your savings. I don't recommend it. This is not a recommendation of what to do, but I know people have done it. They went in their 401k and they, you know, did their businesses out of their 401k. They sponsored themselves. But how can you think about what assets do you have? And like I said, again, I am not saying which one of these ways is best for you. I am not telling you which one is best for you. I'm just giving you options, right? And so it may be that bootstrapping works for you. I bootstrapped my business. I did 100%. I paid it off. I didn't take out a loan or anything. But when you bootstrap, the thing about that is, if you only have limited funds, that means sometimes you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, right? So the money that you would put in your household, you're using that money to do your business. And if you are married, that's a conversation you need to have with your significant other. Or if another person is helping you in your household, you need to think and have a conversation with them about that before you do that. So do it wisely, but bootstrapping may be an option for you that you haven't considered. Like, I could pay, so what can I do? What can I move around in order to pay for my own business? Again, some people have done 401ks or other savings that they went into to get their business started short term, right? And then with the plan of paying that money back in the long term. I am not recommending that, nor am I recommending any of these. I'm just showing you 9 reasonable options, right? The next one is consider an incubator or accelerator. So we have some in town, like incubators, and consider how they may tap into them to see if there are any services or if they know of any loans or any grants that you may qualify for. Having a relationship with the business community in your city, whether that's Chattanooga or wherever you are in the world, having a business, having access to the business community is going to be a benefit to you. So if you're on silo and you're doing your own thing, your head down, you're trying to build this business, you feel like you're out here on the island by yourself, it's maybe because you haven't tapped into your small business community in your city. I advise you to do that. You never know where or how that could work out for you. I also advise people to the Chamber of Commerce. Like we have one here in Chattanooga. If you're in a major city, there's a Chamber of Commerce. Connect with them. And, yes, there's a membership that goes along with their services, but in Chattanooga, they have councils all over the city. Go to the council. It's nothing to go to the councils. Go to the councils, and if they're having lunch or dinner or something, and yes, you do have to pay a higher fee because you're not a member, but you get to network and you get to build your network. You need network. That's the new currency. For me, for bootstrapping, another option would be build your network, right? The family and friends thing, build your network. Another thing is crowdfunding. So have you heard about Kickstarter and Indiegogo? Those are 2 places where people sometimes go and create a crowdfundraising where they are trading them for their donation, some part of their business. Maybe they tell them, well, you give me X number of dollars, and when I'll put your logo on all of my literature, or I'll shout you out on my podcast, or when I'm doing my marketing, I'll make sure that you're shown as a contributor. You're giving them something for their donations. So, that's an option too. If you do, there's several businesses, there's been several movies that's been crowdfunded, and you have to have a community. That's the trick, is you must have a community. That's another reason to build your business network. But you have to have a community support you, because you can do a Kickstarter and nobody show up, and that's not going to be that's not going to be beneficial to you. So think about, again, building your network, and then maybe crowdfunding is an option for you. What about small business grants? I get asked about that all the time. Linda, is there a grant for my business? And I'm going to teach, I'm going to do a grant class soon. I'm going to do a grant class very soon. I just have to get my times right. But yeah, but so there are business grants, there are small business grants out there. But with that being said, there is criteria for getting those grants. So you have to think about, am I in a shape? Like, is my business solid? Do I have proof of concept? Do I have a community? Am I a part, like, do I have collaborators? Am I a part of a nucleus of another set of businesses, or am I out here by myself? The ones that I've seen that have gotten grants and things are the ones who are a part of a bigger chain. They're a small piece of a bigger chain, and they're not just helping the people they're designated to serve. They're actually helping communities, and they're helping other people, and they're working with other business owners to get community things done. So when you think about it, have you done that? Who else have you partnered with, or have you partnered with anybody? It is worth it to see who in your business sphere is doing a very similar thing to you that you're doing, so that you can partner, because partnerships are what gets the win right now, because there are so many people looking for money. It's one pool of money and all these thousands of people looking for it. So you have to think about, how can I partner with someone? And it may be that they received a grant that they can use you as a subset of theirs. So you have to think about networks. Again, networks are better than cash, people. I cannot reiterate that enough. So think about that. And then local contests. So in this city, we have, and check if you're outside of Chattanooga, check in your city. Again, another reason to get in touch with the Chamber of Commerce. But check it, see, there are pitching contests. There are, build your business in 48 hours. There are so many different local contests concerning businesses that you may not have been participating in, but you need to. You really should consider that. And most of them, for the most part, are pitch contests, right? It may be that you make a product, because sometimes there are like cooking contests. If cooking is your thing, then enter a cooking contest. They give away money. They give away prizes. And sometimes the prize is money. If it's not money, it's things that you can definitely need to build your business. So think about the local contests and different ways that you can get involved with what's going on locally, and that's giving away money that can help you build your business. Another thing is, keep your day job, right? I hear so many people say, I'm quitting my job and starting my business. Yeah. Okay. And you all know, some of you know that I graduated from Steve Harvey's School of Business Acceleration back in 2016. And then he came out with a video called Jump, right? And okay. But I was telling people that attended my classes during that time, look, guys, let's be reasonable. If you have a lot of business bills, if you have other people dependent on you, my advice is don't jump. My advice is make sure you have a solid plan before you jump, so that you have a plan B as a safeguard, because just jumping out there, that doesn't work for all of us. Granted, it does work for some people. I met a young lady who sells clothing online, and she quit a post office job. She told me that it was doing well, and that she was able to replace her salary by doing a online clothing store. She is an anomaly. She is like one person that I've met in all the hundreds of business owners I've met. So that just backs up with the way I think, is that you really shouldn't jump out there unless you have a plan B, a safeguard your bills and things, especially if you're in a relationship with someone and they're relying on you to be part of it. So think about that. Your day job, people, I hate my day job, I'm quitting my day job. Okay, but the thing about that is, your day job, you have to reframe how you think about it. Your day job is the number one contributor toward your business. Like, that's your income. They are allowing you to do these things to build your business by helping you keep your mind off all the other things, like a place to live, food to eat, your kids' things, your family's things, your things. So think about it that way. If we reframe how we think about our jobs, or maybe it means going to get a better job, that can support you in your wishes to have a business. Whatever it is, don't quit your please don't quit your J job. Not yet, not unless you have a plan. I wrote an article about that some time ago, and it was ready, set, plan. And it was talking to people that just walk off and say, hey, I'm out of here. I'm going to open my own business. Because that takes some planning. You shouldn't do that willy-nilly. You're putting everything at risk. You need to know that even though Steve told you to jump, and he wrote a book called Jump, and he talks about jumping and whatever. And I understand the faith aspect of that. But even Steve was willing to sleep in a car for 3 years. So that you need to be mindful of that. If you can sleep in a car and it's going to meet your needs and you just need to downsize and do some things, okay, good, go do it. But my advice is to have a clear plan before you just jump out there. I also want to talk to you, that was the 9 things, but I also want to talk to you about venture capitalists. So this is what I learned, and I hope my friend Sonia and her husband Bill, who were on Thunderdome, I hope they come on. But anyway, let's talk about venture capitalists, because people look at Shark Tank and say, oh, I want to get on Shark Tank, I want to get on Shark Tank. And they think that getting on Shark Tank, getting venture capitalists to invest in their business will be the answer to all their dreams. But let me just tell you about those relationships. As a business strategist, I always tell my people, especially my classmates, that when our president said he had lost 300 million, people were like, what? But that's highly possible. What happens is when you're a venture capitalist, you strategize, right? And so what you do is you will invest in 10 businesses, but you only want one of them to succeed. And that's the one that you're going to help get where it needs to go. The other 10, the other 9, they're going to be the write-offs for you. So when you go and get investors that are venture capitalists, your business may be the part of the 9 as opposed to the 1. And that happens a lot of time and people get discouraged. I was looking at somebody had been on Shark Tank and they said, well, I learned early in the game that once you win, the sharks don't support you. That just goes to say they don't understand how venture capitalism works. They're not trying to make all 10 businesses. If they invest in 10 businesses, they're not trying to make all 10 of those businesses win. And when you give them 20% or 10% or whatever percentage you give them, you are losing control of making decisions for your business. Like everything that you do, you have to run it by them to see if it's approved. There's a lot of things that go behind the scene that people don't think of and don't know when they're talking about, well, I need somebody to invest in my business. I'll give them 20% or 10% or whatever. And they don't realize that there are responsibilities that go with that. So I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying be wise if you agree to have an angel of funding, or if angel funding is they just give you the money. They don't want access to your business, but you just pay the loan back. But if you're agreeable to having someone invest in your business, please read all the dotted line before you sign the dotted line. Read, understand how much of your business you're giving up, and understand that by giving somebody else, anytime you take out a loan or somebody invest in your business, you are losing control of how you do that business. Like your ownership is being diminished by the amount that these people are required to be decision makers in your business. So what you see in your head as your dream, as your baby, may not be what the end result is if they've given you money to support your business. So you have to understand the full responsibilities of what happens when somebody invests in your business. Okay? So yeah, so this has been about funding. And I can't see, so I'm on my Chromebook, which has its own mind, y'all. This Chromebook is something different. But, okay, so I don't have 25. I'm sorry, Keisha. I'm looking at some of your questions. Never heard of Kiva, but we'll be researching. Great, Barbara, great. Kiva has been good to a lot of businesses around here in the city. They really have. I think they had a local office. In fact, they started to have I know they have local people that came to our class when I was teaching. One year I taught at lunch. I'm trying to see all your questions, and hopefully my Chromebook will agree. Because like I said, it has its own head. It's doing all kind of stuff. But yeah, so basically, well, thank you, Keisha. I'm glad that you and we have to get your friend count up, baby girl. You gotta get your friend count up because we need supporters, and that's another reason to build your business network. Because it's funny that when you have a small business network, like you're limited to the people that can support you through bartering. Joel, I see Joel. Hey, Joel. I see Joel is on here, and Joel can tell you about bartering. I actually did an interview with Joel a few weeks ago where he talked about using the barter system. There's a whole community of people that barter services. He gave me the example about tires and getting your car or oil change, getting your car serviced and things. And so people are doing that. It's a real thing. So bartering is another way you could think of getting services done, things you need, right? So if, like, I'm a business coach, and if I need somebody to come do graphics for me, then I will coach them, help them build a marketing strategy or help them to do something that is of value to their business in response to them doing my graphic works. So think about, you're a business, you have marketable things that you're doing, and there are people that are needing your services. So is it something that you two can exchange that would be a win-win? I love win-win relationships where everybody wins. So think about that. And don't just think, oh, I don't have the money, so I can't start a business. That's not real. There are ways. If you're creative, you can also go on Google and say creative ways to finance a business, creative ways to finance a startup. Be creative with it. What can you do? I've had people to sell plates out of their houses until they were able to get a brick and mortar to open their restaurants, right? I've had people to do small, like my girl Angie. Angie is one of my best when she's one of my students at lunch, and Angie did pop-ups until she was able to get her restaurant in Dalton where she is now. But she did every month, she did a pop-up, and she would rent the place. She used the community kitchen to cook, and she just take it as it's catered. So she didn't have to have the cooking thing because it was already covered with the community kitchen, and she would just serve the food, right? And she did that for a whole year. She did that for a whole year until she got to the place where she wanted to be, which is her restaurant in Dalton. Casamale, I can never say the word, Casamale Cafe. That's not the right word. But in any case, I'll tag her in the post because I mentioned her name. But she did her whole business, her whole restaurant business like that. Every month, she'd do a pop-up in a different location in the city. She sold tickets for $20. People came in and had a nice evening experience. And in the meantime, she was building her business. She was also building her menu. She got to understand what the people like, and she was getting great customer feedback. It got to the point, like, before she stopped doing them, she would sell out. I was trying to even get in there and sneak in there, and she had already sold out. So, think of creative ways that you can do what you do. While I need to tell you that she was licensed, she wasn't just doing this without license. She had already been licensed. She had already talked to the health department. She had already got her certificates and everything she needed to do what she was doing. But this was a way for her to build money. And that's what we talk. I don't do undercover, I don't do any of that illegitimate stuff. I'm trying to teach you how to start your business legally, right? Because you cannot leave your family a hustle, but you can definitely leave them a business. And that's what I want to teach you, how to do business and do business well. So with doing that, do you all have any questions about how you can fund your business? Like, is there anything that you want to learn about? And I don't know if Kiva is kiva.com or kiva.org, but if you try those two, you'll find them. But Kiva's are great, and they're not just helping the United States. They actually help people fund businesses and ideas around the world. A lot of people don't know about them, and that's sad. You have to pay the money back, but sometimes getting just a hand up with a loan can get you through the first few months to get started. And then once you start building your revenue, then you're able to pay the loan back, and it's a win-win. You pay them back, the people who supported you. And that's the thing is that about Kiva is, I've had a couple of people not to pay back, and that's not good. That's not good at all. Anytime as a business owner, you want to pay back any money that you're supposed to pay back. You want to get loans if that's what you need, but you have to be credit worthy. You're going to need credit in your business. Even if your credit is not so good now, like I said, go to Dream Catchers and get in that group and just scroll around and look at some of the things people have done. There are actually strategies and things you can do to get your credit scores up, to get your bills paid, get your house bought. They've been doing the whole thing. And I always refer to that group because to me, that's the best financial group I know that's going. And there's several thousands of people in that group, several thousands. So yeah, so if you all don't have any more questions for me, then I guess I'll go. But I wanted to come on and just give you ideas of how you can fund your businesses, because I know that's big. Like I said, there were 5 things that people said is keeping them from starting their business. Number 1 was fear, and I dealt with that, and I'll continue to go over these 5 as we go along. But number 1 was fear. Number 2 was procrastination. Number 3 was a lack of customers. They didn't know how to do the marketing thing. Number 4 was not being able to keep everything in the air. And I brought my girl last Sunday, and she talked about Autumn McKenzie. She talked about time management. And then this is number 5. Number 5 was a lack of funds. I keep knocking this out of my ear. When you talk with your hands, honey, when you talk with your hands. But yeah, but those were the 5 things that people said they needed help with. And I want to bring you resolution. I'm a business solutions company. That's what I do. My name is LSMB Business Solutions. I'm the business solutions. So I want to get you solutions to whatever is plaguing you from starting your business, because I have seen, I started my business. I got 3 boys, and all 3 of them have at one point did different businesses. And I know that it has an impact, not just on you, but also on your family. I have cousins and nieces and nephews and things who are doing businesses big in their different cities all around the United States. I know that you can be the catalyst that changes the direction for your entire family. Like, people see you doing your thing, they're going to want to do their thing too. And if you come from an entrepreneur family, you may not want to do what the elders have done or what the others have done, but all of us have talents. All of us have gifts. God has given each one of us a gift. And so you have to think about, how can I use my gift to help the world? It's not about selling product. It's about how many people can you help? I am addicted. That light bulb that's on top of the business plug is the light bulb that represents when I coach people and talk to people and they actually understand. Like, they see their uncultivated ideas and they're ready to get up and run. I love that. I'm addicted to that. This is why I do what I do. So with that being said, my name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the business plug. And tonight I've plugged you in to how you can fund your business. Please put replay if you're watching this in the replay. If you have any questions that you didn't ask here, feel free to inbox your questions to me or to put them below later. Either way it goes, I thank you for joining me this evening. And I hope you join me every Sunday at 7 as I try to bring business content to those who follow me. This has been a dream of mine. It's been going on for so long in my heart, and I am blessed to be able to do it for these last 6 years. You all have a great night. Bye.